For decades, the Word of Faith Fellowship, a secretive Christian group based in Spindale, North Carolina, operated in plain sight. To outsiders, it appeared to be a strict but ordinary church. Inside, according to federal investigators, it functioned as a closed system where children were routinely labeled as possessed, restrained, beaten, and subjected to violent deliverance rituals. This was not one child. This was dozens. And it went on for years. Founded and led by Jane Whaley, the group preached absolute obedience and total submission. Former members testified that children were taught from a young age that disobedience, fear, or emotional distress were signs of demons living inside them. Once a child was labeled possessed, punishment became spiritual duty. Court documents describe how children were subjected to forced exorcisms, often lasting hours. Adults would surround them screaming prayers inches from their faces, pinning them to the ground, and restraining their limbs while demanding that demons speak or leave. Children who cried were told it was not them crying, but the demon. Children who resisted were told the demon was fighting harder. Former members testified that physical violence was routine during these rituals. Children were struck, shaken, and forcibly restrained. Some were denied food or sleep as part of breaking the demon's hold. Others were isolated from their parents, who were told that attachment itself was sinful and demonic. Several survivors testified that they were exorcised repeatedly, sometimes multiple times a week, for years. What makes this case especially disturbing is that parents were encouraged to participate. Court records show that mothers and fathers were told that sparing their children pain would condemn them spiritually. Many parents later testified that they genuinely believed the abuse was saving their children's souls. By the time doubts appeared, fear kept them silent. In 2019, after years of investigation, federal authorities arrested multiple leaders of the group, including Jane Whaley. The indictments included assault, kidnapping, forced labor, and child abuse, all framed within religious coercion. Survivors testified in court about being restrained as children, having demons screamed out of them, and growing up believing they were inherently evil. Psychologists who evaluated former members described severe long-term trauma, including dissociation, anxiety disorders, and identity damage consistent with prolonged childhood abuse. Importantly, this was not hidden in the shadows. Neighbors heard screaming. Schools noticed withdrawn children. Doctors saw unexplained injuries. But the group's isolation and fear tactics prevented intervention for decades. Although no single mass death occurred, experts argue that this case represents something equally horrifying: systematic spiritual torture of children carried out under the authority of religion, normalized over generations. Some survivors testified they believed death would have been easier than the constant fear of exorcism. Federal prosecutors emphasized one chilling pattern. Once a child was declared possessed, nothing they did could prove otherwise. Obedience meant the demon was hiding. Resistance meant the demon was strong. Silence meant the demon was waiting. There was no escape inside the belief system. Today, the Word of Faith Fellowship case is studied in legal, psychological, and religious circles as one of the clearest examples of how exorcism doctrine can be weaponized against children on a large scale. Multiple victims, one belief system, years of sanctioned violence.